This video is going to cover the ideal cold email tech stack going into 2026, and it's going to be based on my 4 years of experience sending cold emails. I've sent over 10 million cold emails, and I run the company Scale Sprints. We basically help agencies set up their entire cold outreach system. So this video is going to cover the ideal tech stack that you should be building for 2026. The first thing is the sending tool, and I recommend Instantly.ai. I'm a certified expert with Instantly.ai, but even before I partnered with them, I was using it. And at this point, it's the biggest dedicated cold email tool in the world. And there's good reason for that. It's because they have been on top of their game. They've been releasing new features all the time that we need to optimize deliverability, to optimize our sending automation and our copies and everything surrounding the whole outreach motion. So it's a great tool. Some of the features that they have that I like, well, first of all, they're very user friendly, I would say. So they have stuff for the beginners that are getting into outreach, and they also have stuff for very advanced guys like me. So they kind of cover the whole spectrum. But they have a great warm up pool. Some people, talk about contaminated warm up pools on these outreach tools, but I think Instantly has been pretty consistent. We haven't had any major deliverability issues at any point using Instantly. They have great features like randomization of sending patterns. They have a built-in spam word checker, spin taxing, and a lot of other features that we use all the time. So I would use Instantly. It's a great tool. It's, in my opinion, it's the most obvious choice on the market at the moment. Now, for the infrastructure itself, so this is referring to basically how you set up domains and email accounts that you're then going to be connecting to Instantly.ai. Now, for domains, I found porkbun.com to be very reliable, and I've used some other ones like GoDaddy and Squarespace in the past. I've had issues with those. I think they're buggy. I think the support is terrible. I haven't had good experiences with those, but Porkbun has been consistently just really, really pleasant to work with. So I use those, and I intend to use them as well going into 2026. So I acquire my domains on Porkbun, and then what I do for the email licenses, we actually don't use any Microsoft at the moment, and it's because I haven't seen any data to suggest that Microsoft is even needed. I think Google licenses are just fine for cold outreach, whether you're sending to Google inboxes or you're sending to Microsoft inboxes. So that's what I do. I don't buy my email licenses directly from Google because it's way too expensive. So I go through a reseller, and this is a reseller that we share with our clients internally. So I'm not going to say that in this video, but if you want to work with us and have access to that reseller, you can check out scalesprint.io. But if you don't know where to go, you can basically just do some research and try and find a good reseller for Google licenses. And that is basically the most ideal way to set up these email accounts. Now, the next part is the data sources. So these are basically the platforms where you get your data from. And obviously, this is going to depend on who your exact ICP is. So, generally speaking, the first question you got to ask yourself is, do you have an audience that is very present on LinkedIn, right? So this will often go for like professional services and any online businesses and stuff. They will typically be present on LinkedIn. And what that means is that databases like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is in some sense the mother of all databases, is what some people say. We know that the data is on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We know that also Apollo, because they're getting their data from LinkedIn, is also going to have these people. So if you have an audience that is very present on LinkedIn, I would recommend going with some of these databases, these larger, more known databases. If you're looking for more specific data like e-commerce or SaaS, for example, I would use Crunchbase for SaaS data and any funded startups. StoreLeads is great for e-commerce. If you're looking for local businesses, I would scrape Google Maps using something like Outscraper. If you're looking for specific technologies, so if you're looking for sites that are using, any specific, it could be using Shopify, for example, or something on their website, you can use BuildWith for this purpose. And so again, it kind of depends on who you're looking to target, but these are some suggestions here. You're also going to have to do some research on this based on your audience. Also, one thing that I think is very underrated is scraping more niche databases and directories. So sometimes there will be very accurate directories that will list out a certain audience, and you can scrape that with something like Instant Data Scraper, which is a free tool to scrape websites. And then you can basically take that data, put it into Clay, and then you can use clay.com, which I'm going to get to in just a moment, to find the email addresses of the people or of the right decision makers within those companies. So that's what I do in that case. For email verification, I would recommend using Million Verifier. I think Million Verifier has been very consistent over the years as well. And I find that there are some email verification tools out there that kind of lie and they're not totally honest about the emails that they validate. And so I found that Million Verifier has been very consistent. We've had a low bounce rate. We've hardly ever run into any issues when it comes to high bounce rates from our data. And I would say that is because of Million Verifier. We actually don't send to any catch-alls, or of course, we don't send to non-valids either. So we just send from the purely just valid emails that we get from Million Verifier. In terms of automations, I think Make is great. We use Make for a lot of our internal automations, like, basically getting notifications when there's a positive response, pushing that into an LLM and getting some sort of information that we push to a Slack channel. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do with Make, and so it's great for these automations around the outbound sales motion. For data enrichment and sort of your data warehouse, if you will, I think Clay is great. A lot of people now know about Clay. It's, I think, a $100 million ARR company at this point, which is pretty amazing for a go-to-market tool. But essentially, they have a bunch of data integrations. You can also use, of course, AI on the site to manipulate lists as well. So they have a bunch of interesting features we use all the time. We use it for basically pre-qualifying leads. So basically having all our leads, we scan them with Clay before we start sending, so we know they're qualified. And we use the integrations they have with LeadMagic, Prospeo, and a bunch of these other data enrichment providers, like also FindEmail as well. We use a lot of these data integrations, so it's a great tool. The next one is capturing website traffic. I use RB2B for this purpose. I think it's pretty solid provider. And basically what they can do is whenever somebody visits your websites, you can get their information. And then what we typically do is we take the information of all the individuals that visit a website, we push it to an LLM to determine if they're qualified. And then if they're qualified, we then enrich them with their mobile number and their email. And then we push it into a Slack channel so we can immediately call them and email them. So that is a good use case for our B2B and capturing website traffic. For LinkedIn automation, we use HeyReach. This is, I would say, at this point, probably the most popular LinkedIn tool as well. And I think there's good reason for that. It's very just solid, has what you need. Pricing is fair. No complaints about HeyReach. I think it's a great tool for anyone that's looking to do LinkedIn automation, LinkedIn outreach. For warm calling, I would use Salesfinity. This is a bit more on the expensive end, but it's a great calling software. It's better than most dialers because it has a bunch of AI-powered features that are very neat for any sales team. So for warm calling, we use Salesfinity. Would highly recommend it. So here's a total overview of the tech stack. So for outreach and sales automation, it's Salesfinity, HeyReach, our B2B, Instantly. And for data enrichment and workflow automation, we have Clay, Make, and Million Verifier. For lead and company databases, we have StoreLeads built with Google Maps, where you can use Outscraper to scrape Google Maps, Crunchbase, Apollo, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and for infrastructure, we have Google Workspace and Porkbun. So as long as you have this particular tech stack in place, you will definitely not have any issues in 2026. These are the tools I would use based on my 4 years of experience. And if you are looking for a company to build out the entire cold outreach system for your company, you can go to scalesprint.io. We have both a done with you and a done for you service where we build the system that you see on the screen right now. This is a system that is focused on high volume email and super fast speed to lead and multi-channel outreach. So this is like a hyper optimized system that you really need for 2026 to get results. So if you're interested in that, you can book a meeting with me and we can talk further. So thanks for watching and have a great day.